What is going on, guys? This is Crowsin, and welcome to a new game series on this channel with Nightreign, and this time we have the Revenant support build. So the general consensus are that Revenants are kind of weak, but they really are one of the best classes in the game if you know exactly what you're doing. So in this video I'm going to go over the best relics in order to be a very good support Revenant, as well as the best equipment, effects, incantations, and just general tips in order to get you guys playing at being the best Revenant possible. So let's get into it. So I like to begin with relics because relics are the most build-like thing about a class in this game, and so the Revenant's Chalice is going to be the best chalice here because we will need a blue, a red, and a green relic. So we're going to start with the Old Portrait, and the Old Portrait is a blue relic that you can get from completing the Remembrance quest, and this has 3 amazing effects. It can trigger a Ghost Flame explosion every time you activate the ultimate art. You can also expend your own health to fully heal nearby allies and summons. And the last effect is really just a nice bonus where defeating enemies will feel more of the art gauge, and the Revenant has one of the best ultimate arts that are out there, so getting this filled up as quickly as you can is going to be your #1 priority. The second best in slot relic is a red relic called Knight of the Fathom, and you can get this from defeating the Augur boss for the first time. And one of the main weaknesses to a Revenant is that they have very low HP, so increasing the maximum HP can work wonders for a Revenant. Also, we get 2 very nice support effects here, where the flask can also heal nearby allies, and what it doesn't tell you is that it heals your summons as well. And consumable items like boiled crabs can also work on nearby allies, so this makes for a very nice support relic. Your third relic is going to be a green relic, and this is really going to come down to RNG, and I mean you really have to hit the lottery in order to get the best 3 effects here, so pay no attention to the first 2 effects and just look at the ultimate art gauge +3. So the Revenants have one of the best ultimate arts in the game, and having the ultimate art gauge +3 means that you can passively regenerate that ultimate art while you're in combat, and even if that might only translate to a couple of seconds, having that thing up might dictate whether you win or lose a match. The other effect that you want to find with the ultimate art gauge is going to be the Wraith Calling Bell. Having this at the start of your possession means that you have an offensive item that you can use that is a very low FP cost, and this thing can actually work very well for the first and second day, and I even heard people using this pretty well on the Night Lords. The last effect that you want to combine with the ultimate art gauge and the Wraith Calling Bell is going to be a Revenant specific effect, and that's going to strengthen family and allies whenever the ultimate art is activated. So trying to get all 3 of these on one random relic that you can get once you complete an expedition is going to be very rare, and as I said, it's going to be like hitting the lottery. So I was only able to get an ultimate art gauge +3 on one of these, and that's after 160 matches. So if you can find all 3 of those on one relic, then you are very, very lucky. So now we could go over some of the best equipment and effects that you want to be on the lookout for whenever you go into an expedition. So we're going to start with the weapons. Now I don't really want to get too specific with weapons because this is going to be completely random throughout every match, but I will give you some of the weapons that worked out well for me as a Revenant. The first one being Eleonora's Pole Blade. I actually used this for one of my matches, and the weapon art just literally obliterated everything, so it can really melt down all types of enemies because of the bleed effect. I also had a lot of success with the Blasphemous Blade, and that's no surprise there, so the weapon art on this can not only regenerate some of your health back by the damage, but you're also going to have a very nice AoE weapon art. The Halo Scythe was also another very nice weapon that also has a bleed status effect and has Miquella's Ring of Light, so it has a very nice weapon art as well. I also had Ordovis's Greatsword one match, and the weapon art on this thing works out very well, and it does deal a lot of holy attack, so this is going to be very good for some of those Night Lords. So the point I'm trying to make here is that there are so many different weapons that work well for a Revenant, so there really isn't one special weapon type that you want to use. I would focus on trying to get anything that has Frostbite or Bleed, because both of those effects are just so overpowered in Elden Ring in general that they're mostly going to be better than going with something that has Holy or Fire damage. As far as your talismans, I would say that Radagon Icon and Godfrey Icon are going to be your 2 best in slot. You can also settle for the Faithful's Canvas Talisman if you do find this, as that just gives you flat out improved incantation damage. The Crimson Amber Medallion is another very nice one for increased max HP. You also have the Roar Medallion if you want to have an enhanced Dragon Breath attack. Warrior Jar Shard for the increased weapon art attack power. And 2 guaranteed talismans that you can find are at the Special Merchants camp. And you'll be able to find the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman here as well as Erdtree's Favor, and both of these are very good defensive talismans. As far as your number one item effect, I would go with Improved Incantations. This is just flat out damage on your incantations. You can find them on items or simply as a dormant power. You can also go for anything like increased maximum FP or reduced FP consumption, and even though these won't directly impact your damage, you're still going to be casting more spells because of these, so that means technically you're going to deal more damage in the long run. You will also be able to find the reduced spell FP cost on items too, so you can go for this effect as well. Another nice effect is less likely to be targeted, and I would recommend one or two of these, that way you take less aggro from a boss. Another very nice effect is the improved spellcasting speed, and you can find these on a lot of items and stack these as well. And sometimes you will find improved charged incantations. These work out well too, but they're very specific towards the charged incantations, so just keep that in mind. So another very important part about a Revenant are going to be the incantations that we're going to use. And there are so many good incantations out there that I'm not going to be able to go over all of them. So I'm just going to give you some of my favorite incantations that I found, whether that be because of damage purposes or just because of how efficient they were FP wise. So we're going to start with one called Discus of Light. So this is a very good incantation just based off how much damage it does versus just how much FP cost that it actually uses. It basically uses hardly any at all, and you could just spam this and it will deal some very good damage on a lot of different bosses. We also have the good old Lightning Spear, and this can be your bread and butter incantation. So you can either just cast this very quickly or you can hold it down and charge it and go for something with a little bit more damage. The main benefit that Lightning Spear has is that it can come out very quickly versus a lot of the other incantations. Another incantation that I had a lot of success with is Elden Stars, and Elden Stars is very overpowered for one reason only, and that's when you obtain the Scarlet Forest buff where you can gain a little bit of HP back for every hit that you do. This chip damage from every one of these attacks will actually regenerate some of your HP loss whenever you take an attack. So against the Darkdrift Knight, I was basically immortal for the entire fight. Another incantation I had a lot of success with is the Black Blade, and this has a two-part combo, so you can follow it up with another additional attack, and this thing can actually just melt bosses if you are able to find it. Another very good incantation that I have success with is Triple Rings of Light, and this does require a little bit more FP than I would like, but it does have amazing tracking, especially for those bosses that move around a lot. And if you are looking for a nice fire incantation, then Black Flame can be your bread and butter. It does have a nice damage over time effect that can be achieved after you hit the enemy with this, and you can also charge it up for some additional damage. The problem with a lot of these fire incantations is that the tracking is terrible and they come out very slow, and a lot of times on those fast bosses, you're just going to miss like half of the attempts that you throw out there. So I like going for Whirl O Flame instead if I can get it, as this has a lot better tracking, and a lot of times this will just hit bosses as they move. And we also have the dragon incantations that can be useful depending on the fight. So if we want to inflict Scarlet Rot, we could use something like Rotten Breath. Or if we do want to go with something that has fire damage like Dragon Fire, we could go out into that, and that will deal some very good damage against those bosses that are weak to fire. And the last incantation that I want to go over here is Beast Claw. This is actually something that has very low FP as well. It also has a very good AoE attack and can deal some pretty good damage. So if you do find Beast Claw, that's another incantation that you can use. So for the last part of this video, we can go over some general tips on just how to be the best Revenant possible. So one of the most important items for a Revenant are Starlight Shards, and the good news is that there are a lot of Starlight Shards available. The merchants have 2 Starlight Shards to sell, and they also have a small pouch. I recommend getting both of those. And if you do need more Starlight Shards, you can find them in the Sorcerer's Rise Tower, and you can get generally 3 to 4 Starlight Shards from the boxes on the main floor. And the special merchants that are marked on your map also sell an unlimited amount of Starlight Shards. So if you don't have enough of Starlight Shards by then, you can always purchase the maximum amount here. And one of the most powerful items are Wending Graces, because you can rise from defeat after everyone is down. And this is even more important for a Revenant because a Revenant can just revive everyone right after that. So make sure that you do get Wending Graces when you can. And one item that I see no Revenants use are Warming Stones. You want to make sure that you put a Warming Stone down right on Sebastian, and what that will do is that'll basically just regenerate his HP over time, and he'll be able to tank a couple of hits from even the Nameless King. And every summon does have a special power as well as immortality whenever you do use your ultimate art, and so in Sebastian's case, he basically has a Ghost Flame Hydro Cannon, which is pretty awesome. And if you do have another Revenant that does have Sebastian summon, then your ultimate art will work for their summon as well, and that will allow you to have dual Hydro Cannons. And one thing to do before you use your ultimate to revive a down ally is make sure that you have your summon out, so that way your summon will gain immortality as well as yourself, and your summon will also gain that special power. So in Frederick's case, he will do a little spinning whirlwind. So just keep in mind that the immortality will not carry over for the down ally, but for everyone that's already up, they will gain immortality for a couple of seconds. So if you are on the hunt for seals, there are 2 guaranteed locations that have them. One is this unmarked house, so if you go up to the statue, you'll be able to find 2 to 3 seals here. The other is the underground cathedrals. If you go up to that statue, you will be able to find some seals there as well. And while you are playing as a Revenant, do try to get the final kill on these enemies, because if you do, you'll be able to resurrect them and they will fight alongside of you for about a minute. And the ultimate art will also work with these summons, so they will be immortal as well for a couple of seconds. So thank you guys for watching till the end, and I hope you enjoyed this Nightreign Revenant support build, and if this video does well, I will continue to make some more Nightreign builds for the other classes. So let me know what you think about this one. Let me know if there's anything that I missed in the comments, because there are quite a few things to go over whenever we're discussing a Revenant. So thank you guys for watching again, and I will see you in the next video.